There are places in every home that we avoid looking at too closely. The dark corners, the empty closets, the space beneath the bed. But what if something was already there, waiting for you to notice? My name is Rachel Harper, and I live in a modest suburban house in Portland, Oregon, with my husband Daniel, our 12-year-old daughter Sophie, and my elderly mother Margaret, who moved in with us after Dad passed away last year. We also have a loyal German shepherd named Max, who's always been protective of our family. He's the kind of dog who senses trouble before anyone else does. Valentine's Day had always been special for us, a quiet celebration of love and togetherness. This year, however, the holiday took a darker turn when an unexpected storm rolled in. It started as a cozy evening, hot cocoa, board games, and laughter, but ended with all of us questioning whether we were truly alone in the house. It began with Sophie. "Mom, there's someone in my room," Sophie said suddenly, her voice trembling. She clutched Max's leash tightly, his presence offering her some comfort. "What do you mean?" I asked, glancing at Daniel. "Did you hear something?" "I didn't hear anything," she replied, shaking her head. "I just feel like someone's watching me." Daniel chuckled softly, trying to lighten the mood. "Probably just your imagination, kiddo. You've been reading too many scary stories." But Sophie wasn't convinced. Neither was Max. His ears perked up, and he let out a low growl, staring intently at the hallway leading to Sophie's bedroom. "Let's check it out," I said, grabbing a flashlight, just to be sure. When we entered Sophie's room, everything seemed normal. Her stuffed animals were neatly arranged on her bed, and her nightlight cast a soft glow across the room. But Max refused to come inside. He stood in the doorway, his body rigid, his eyes fixed on the space beneath the bed. "There's nothing here," Daniel said, crouching down to look. "See? Just dust bunnies." Sophie didn't look reassured. "Can I sleep in your room tonight?" she asked, clutching my arm. "Of course," I replied, ushering her out. "Come on, Max." But as we left the room, I couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, was still there. That night, none of us slept well. Around midnight, I heard footsteps coming from upstairs. At first, I thought it was Daniel checking on Sophie, but when I went to investigate, he was already asleep beside me. The footsteps led me to Margaret's room. She was sitting upright in bed, her hands trembling as she clutched the blanket. "I saw her," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "A woman, standing at the foot of my bed." "Who, Mom?" I asked, kneeling beside her. "What did she look like?" "She didn't say anything," Margaret continued, ignoring my question. "She just stared." I tried to calm her down, telling her it was probably just a nightmare. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. Max had been restless all night, pacing between rooms and growling at nothing. By morning, Sophie claimed she'd seen the same woman in her dreams, a pale figure with hollow eyes and long, tangled hair. Even Daniel admitted to hearing faint whispers in the hallway, though he brushed it off as the wind. That evening, the tension reached its peak. Sophie refused to leave our side, and Margaret barely spoke, her gaze constantly darting toward the shadows. The rain outside showed no signs of stopping, and the house felt colder than ever. Around 10 p.m., Max began barking furiously, his attention fixed on Sophie's room. Reluctantly, I followed him, flashlight in hand. The door was slightly ajar, swaying gently as if nudged by an invisible force. "Sophie?" I called out, stepping inside. "Are you okay?" There was no answer. The room was silent except for the sound of rain hitting the window. Max sniffed the air, then bolted toward the bed, barking wildly. "What is it, boy?" I asked, shining the flashlight around the room. Then I noticed it, the faint outline of a hand peeking out from beneath the bed. My heart stopped. Slowly, I crouched down and shone the light underneath. What I saw made me scream. There she was, a woman, her face pale and gaunt, her eyes wide open but unseeing. She lay perfectly still, her body pressed flat against the floor, as if she belonged there. For a moment, I thought she was dead, but then she blinked. Before I could react, she smiled, a slow, unnatural grin that sent chills down my spine. Then, just as quickly as she appeared, she vanished. We called the police, but they found nothing unusual in the house. No evidence of forced entry, no signs of anyone hiding inside. They suggested it might be stress or fatigue playing tricks on our minds, but we knew better. Since that night, strange things have continued to happen. Max refuses to enter Sophie's room, and Margaret claims she hears the woman whispering her name late at night. Sophie has started sleeping with the lights on, clutching a baseball bat like it's her only defense. As for me, I can't stop thinking about what I saw. Who was she? Why was she here? And most importantly, why hasn't she left? Thank goodness for Max. Without him, I don't think any of us would have the courage to stay in this house. But even with him by our side, I can't help wondering, will we ever feel safe again?